the Dybbuk that would not leave her body.
The Clinging, a Kabbalistic Dybbuk account. The dead do not always stay where we bury them. The divine spark. The mystics of the Kabbalah taught that when the Creator formed man from the dust of the ground, he did not simply assemble organs and bones. He breathed into him a breath that did not rot, did not age, did not die. The neshama, the soul. Not matter, not chemistry, not instinct. A divine spark, trapped inside a cage of flesh. But the mystics asked another question. A frightening one. What happens when the flesh returns to dust, but the spark refuses to return to its maker? What happens when the soul fears the place of judgment? What happens when eternity becomes unbearable? They spoke of a fugitive soul, a soul that runs, a soul that hides, clinging to the living, feeding off their strength, stealing their breath. They called it a Dybbuk in Hebrew, which means the clinging. The city in the north of Israel. There is a city in the northern mountains, painted in shades of blue, holy, silent, older than memory. The air smells of beeswax candles, old parchment, wet stone. Mystics once walked its narrow alleys, whispering sacred names before dawn. But the ground here is treacherous. History says the city has been destroyed by earthquakes and rebuilt again and again. The living quite literally live on top of the dead, layer upon layer. Time flattened beneath the weight of centuries. In the winter of 1985, a family moved into an old stone house near the artist's quarter. Thick walls that held the cold, arched windows, a valley of shadows beyond. They wanted to renovate, to modernize, to erase the past. They did not know that some things are buried for a reason. The vessel. It happened on a Tuesday. Workmen were digging up the basement floor, lowering the foundation to create more space. Beneath packed black earth, a shovel struck something hard. Not stone, clay. They pulled it out, a small jar, sealed with wax, heavy for its size. The father was a rational man, a modern Israeli. He believed in banks and blueprints, not superstition. He assumed the jar held something valuable. Turkish coins, Ottoman jewelry, British relics from the Mandate. He scraped away the wax. Inside, there was no gold, no jewels, no treasure, only dust. And a smell, sulfur, as if something had been burning for a very, very long time. He laughed, a hollow laugh. He threw the dust into the trash and placed the jar on a shelf as decoration. He did not notice the air turn cold. He did not notice the shadows lengthen. He did not notice the house begin to breathe. The passenger. The change did not come at once. A Dybbuk is patient. It weakens the vessel before it takes the wheel. First came the exhaustion. The daughter, 19 years old, bright, happy. She stopped eating. She sat in the corner of her room, staring at a blank wall. Hours passed. She did not blink. Her parents called a doctor from the city. He gave her pills. He told them to rest. Then came the rocking. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Violent, rhythmic, like a man praying in deep distress at the Western Wall. And then came the singing. 3 a.m. The house is silent. From the girl's room, a voice drifted down the hall. Not a girl's voice, a man's voice. Rough, guttural, weeping. Not Hebrew, Aramaic, the language of the Talmud, the language of the dead. The father rushed in. He grabbed her shoulders. He shook her. Her eyes were open, but she was not there. Her lips curled into a sneer, and the voice hissed through her teeth. I have nowhere to go. Do not send me to the dark. The father froze. The voice knew him. It spoke his sins. One by one. Money taken, lies told, shames hidden in silence. The thing inside his daughter knew everything. The minyan. They did not call a priest. They did not call a doctor. They ran to the old synagogue down the street. The one with the blue door. They found the rabbi. The rabbi did not ask questions. He had heard these stories before. Stories from the shtetls of Europe. Stories told in whispers. Stories the modern world pretends to forget. He said, "We need a minyan. A minyan, 10 men for a sacred prayer." They came at midnight. 10 men wrapped in white prayer shawls. Faces hidden by shadow. Voices trembling with age and fear. They stepped into the girl's room. The air was thick, heavy as water. The electric lights burst with a pop and died. They lit black candles. One of the men held a shofar, a ram's horn used as an ancient trumpet in ritual and war. The rabbi stood before the girl. Her body trembled. Her mouth spat curses in a language dead for centuries. The rabbi began the prayer. "Ana bekowak." "Release her," he said. "Leave this body." The voice inside screamed, "I am afraid. The gates of Gehenna are open. Gehenna, where the unrepentant face the fire of judgment." The Dybbuk was terrified. It was not a demon, not a monster, a coward, a soul in hiding, clinging to the innocent, to escape its fate. The rabbi nodded to the man with the horn. The shofar blasted, Tekiyah, a long, piercing call, meant to shake the walls of heaven. The girl's body arched backward, bones cracking like branches in winter. The rabbi spoke the name that is not written. Go. The exit. Silence. The girl went rigid. According to the mystics, a Dybbuk must leave through the extremities. It cannot leave through the mouth, or it will tear the host's soul with it. It must leave through the smallest opening. Suddenly, the window shattered outward, glass raining into the night. On the girl's foot, the smallest toe began to bleed. A single, dark drop. She gasped, a deep, primal breath. Her eyes rolled back. She collapsed. The 10 men stood in the dark, clutching their prayer shawls, chests heaving. On the shelf across the room, the clay jar cracked down the center. The aftermath. The girl survived. She remembered nothing. The family moved away the next day. They left the furniture. They left the clothes. They left the dishes in the sink. they never returned. The house in the mountains stands empty. The locals say you cannot renovate it. They say the foundation is tainted. And if you walk through the blue-painted alleys at night, when the winter fog rolls through the valley, sometimes you will hear it. Not the wind, not the birds. A low, weeping prayer, searching for a door that will not open, searching for a home.